What in the world is Dr. Fauci doing over in China? I mean, this guy is everywhere, and he sure loves to tell people what to do. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely shocking, devastating news to get into, especially when it comes to the larger consequences of the Build Back Better Great Reset, which is a deliberate set of plans and actions put forward by the Federal Reserve and many governments worldwide, which is literally creating mass havoc right now. What's really happening, we're going to try to explain to you in this particular video, with, of course, the latest troubling developments that you're going to have to deal with, as, of course, the consequences for government actions become more severe by the day. We're also going to be talking about some other very interesting topics, all of that, plus a lot more. But of course, the clip that we played in the beginning of this video is not Dr. Fauci in China. It's what looks like the Chinese government recruiting children in order to act like they're Red Guard, barking orders for people to, of course, socially distance. Yeah, the situation in China is absolutely horrible, and you wouldn't believe some of the videos coming out there. We're not going to be showing you, of course, the really bad ones, but you could only imagine what happens when you give the government full control of your life. And what's happening in Shanghai is a perfect example of what happens when you do that. And it's something, of course, that a lot of bureaucrats and government Beckies are trying to implement here in the United States, as of course they're trying to implement a government disinformation homeland security agency that will, of course, be deciding what is true and not true. The person assigned to head this organization is someone who has spread fake news herself throughout the years, someone that is extremely politically divisive, obviously has an invested interest in helping her political party and identity win, no matter what the circumstance of this. This person is, of course, not a proponent of free speech, but the exact opposite of that, as she previously described free speech as, quote, fairy dust, alluding that she believes it shouldn't exist. And from new videos that just surfaced, she also called for the government to have its say with everything that happens online, specifically wanting, quote, trustworthy, verified people to add context to all the conversations that are happening. And as our lives become more digitized, it's also important to note that there's going to be some implications here for society at large, especially when it comes to the technological revolution happening right in front of our eyes. We talked about this in yesterday's video with specific context around Elon Musk and Neuralink. If you haven't watched that video, definitely I recommend you check it out for a very interesting conversation. But Mark Cuban today is coming out and saying that he is predicting that artificial intelligence will soon dominate the workspace, which obviously is going to have a big impact on our lives. And as the government and technology become all-encompassing, all-knowing, all-dominating of our every lives, the people warning about this larger takeover are, of course, being targeted by the FBI because they have some questions about the ever-changing times that we are going through, as perfectly represented by the new Project Veritas video that has a whistleblower from the FBI that leaked documents showing specifically that the Federal Bureau of Investigations was targeting, quote, news media under the, quote, new direction of the agency that is deciding to target people who talk about information, who give out information to the general public as their targets that they should track, trace, and database and look into and target for prosecution. And, of course, the news business is something that the FBI is going to be going after, especially since they're becoming more Orwellian and trying to control the narrative as they try to control your life more and more every single day. This as we're dealing with ever so complex situations, especially geopolitically, as of course today we're also finding out that Finland will seek membership inside of NATO, quote, without delay. This is something that of course Russia has warned if happens would be met with some resistance from them. This as today we're finding out that a Russian city was allegedly attacked by Ukrainians, and as we know from the fog of war, we are getting these initial reports. It doesn't make them true, but there are some photos and videos coming out allegedly showing the village inside of Russia that allegedly was attacked by Ukrainian artillery. In response to this, the Russians are once again threatening to use nuclear weapons, creating more of a cluster F situation that, of course, we're going to be discussing more later on today on LukeUncensored.com, where, of course, we will be continuing the conversation with an exclusive video where we could show you the videos that we can't hear, talk about the topics that we can't hear, and get into the real nitty-gritty of exactly what's going on in our world. As today, in our exclusive video, we're not only going to be talking about the latest geopolitical insanity, but the very surprising data coming out of Walgreens that is very public, that is highlighting a very serious situation for a lot of people. That subject, that video is only available for members on LukeUncensored.com. Click the link down in the description below to find out more. Sign up right now, just 50 cents a day, and you get a lot of different perks, all available through our quasi-secret private membership. LukeUncensored.com. Hope to see you there later on today. Now, I think it's very fair to say that what's happening right now to the average person that's not really paying attention to politics, it doesn't matter what side you're on, if you're on the left or right, you are being greatly impacted by the moves made by the U.S. Federal Reserve and our government that are creating an absolutely awful, devastating situation for everyone all around. This shouldn't be a partisan issue, as of course it's not just this current president that has been recklessly spending and printing money out of thin air. It also was the previous one before that, and there's a long history of reckless spending by the U.S. government, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, which we've been warning you there was going to be a price to pay for it. That price is being slightly paid for right now, and when we're dealing with the dire financial consequences at the grocery store, at the supermarket, at the gas station, paying your rent, trying to pay for your utilities, you have to understand that this is not a situation that was brought on by accident, that this was a situation knowingly brought on by the central controllers, the establishment, the banks, and the government that have created this pain and suffering that you are now going through. Put it simply, the economy didn't take itself out, just like Jeffrey Epstein, and there's multiple layers of understanding to see this kind of deliberate destruction, but there was a rare moment of truth, especially on the corporate media, especially on CNBC, which is very rare. It doesn't usually happen, but there was a Viket Ramsazwavi, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, which I'm probably definitely am doing so, who spoke about the complexities of this issue in this one soundbite that is definitely worth listening to.
If you got the CEOs of Exxon, Shell, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips in a room, say, and they coordinated to say we're going to reduce gas production and gas prices spike as a result, that'd be the stuff of movies. There'd be handcuffs. People would be locked up on antitrust violations. Yet today, when the largest owners of those firms effectively direct them and mandate them to do the same thing, somehow that gets celebrated as ESG instead. That's a problem. But we think the right solution is competition. That's what we're bringing to the table.
Now, if you didn't know, the ESG score that he was talking about is, of course, the Environmental, Social, and Corporate Governance score, which many top financial institutions like BlackRock and Vanguard use as a way to divvy out money to investors. And, of course, these are also financial institutions that get bailed out and secret money from the U.S. Federal Reserve that you're paying for right now. The top financial institutions in the world are literally getting bailouts on their losses. Their profits are, of course, being privatized. We're living in a situation where there's socialism for the rich, and these money-hungry lunatics have implemented the ESG score, which is limiting the amount of energy that could be produced on the world stage, all in the name of keeping Greta Thunberg happy, in the name of helping the environment. In reality, we're just literally getting the energy from Saudi Arabia, which actually creates more emissions, getting it here to the United States, while, of course, making the price of everything go up. And the production of energy is crucial to understand our financial woes right now, since, of course, with the cost of energy going up, that means everything else will go up. Not just heating, not just gas, but everything being transported to you will go up. And this administration has had many policies where they have stopped exploration and the production of domestic energy here in the United States, all in the name of this environmental score, all in the name of Greta Thunberg, and now to add insult to injury with their already destructive energy policies here in the United States by the Biden administration. Just hours ago, they have announced that they have canceled their Alaskan oil and gas lease sale, which has stopped the drilling for oil in over 1 million acres in Alaska. This as gas prices have reached their highest point on record. They're expected to go even a lot higher now, and the Biden administration is doing everything in their power right now to keep those prices high. As of course Saudi Arabia, that we're importing all the energy from right now, is deciding to not put out a lot of energy because they know if they don't do this, that of course they're going to get even more profits and they're going to be able to price hike the amount of energy that is out there since there's not a lot of it. And with the United States not competing with the world, hindering itself, shooting itself in the foot, denying itself its access to energy, it's only going to make this inflation that we're dealing with that much worse. U.S. wholesale prices surged 11% in April. Grains have jumped 41%. Eggs have soared 161%. And this is just the very beginning of a lot of significant financial woes to come. Ish is getting real, and it's only going to get more real from here. As of course, even Janet Yellen is warning about a food crisis, which of course now is inevitable. They're trying to blame everything on the Ukraine-Russian war, when in reality, yes, of course, that situation doesn't help what we're dealing with, but it only exacerbates the problems that were laid before us, way before this conflict has even started, and it's only making it worse. But the groundwork has been laid down by this administration, by the Federal Reserve, and truly, if you're looking for someone to blame, it is within our ruling, powerful establishment that has created this situation where now the United States is set on giving Ukraine $40 billion, money that of course will go to corrupted Ukrainian politicians and bureaucrats, oligarchs that of course had financial interests with the son of the president, while of course here in the United States we're dealing with not only an energy but supply chain crisis to the point where there's a national shortage of baby formula. Did Ukraine and Russia do this? No, but printing money out of thin air, trying to prolong the conflict in Ukraine, zapping the possibilities of any kind of ceasefire, prolonging this conflict is not going to help the world. This, as even the Babylon Bee satirically and very thought-provokingly released a satire article that was titled, "Starving American Babies Disguise Themselves as Ukrainian Soldiers in Hopes of Getting $40 billion in federal aid," highlighting the absurdity of this situation, laughing at it because it's as tragic as it is hilarious. Now, it's also important to understand what else got us here was, of course, the government shutting down the world financial hubs for the last 2 years, all in the name of health and safety. They promised you if you took a product from a criminal company that had no liability from it, that everything would go back to normal. Joe Biden even declared that if you took this product, that you're definitely not going to get sick if you take this product. And now, a lot of people that have taken this product have actually gotten sick, like the governor of New York, many prominent politicians, many prominent celebrities, Kamala Harris, now of course Bill Gates, the man invested in this unaccountable, no liability, stricken, huge industry, which of course he's very intertwined with, as of course within the last 2 years, the U.S. government shut down the economy and printed money and gave it to huge multinational corporations, essentially even buying commercials for them. And as these international corporations have had record profits, you of course are left paying for them living their best life with record profits. And if you're recalling this out from the very beginning, you would have gotten censored. We got censored many times for calling out a lot of the bullcrap, a lot of the hypocrisy that has now come true. And we're now reaching an absurd point where even the head of the World Health Organization is being censored in China. Yes, the head of the World Health Organization, the Director General, Dr. Tedros, is being censored in China after he called their Bill Gates policy of a zero sickness unsustainable. And it is. It's absolutely unsustainable, and it leads to absolutely horrible negative social and economic consequences that now even the experts, even the advocates of this Gates zero sickness policy are coming out saying that they never really considered the negative impacts of their policies, as of course we're now dealing with them. Shanghai still under lockdown, which is going to be significant, specifically when it comes to the larger financial ramifications of 26 million people in China being totally shut down for business. North Korea just reported their first case of this sickness, and while independent news that was critical of the establishment, that was right all along, was being censored, as they most likely will be censored more by their new disinformation czar. Today we're also finding out that the NIH hid scientific information, specifically the genotype of this sickness, from the world, which stopped scientists from being able to understand it, stopped scientists from being able to stop it at the request of the Chinese government. Yes, the NIH just confirmed today that they were taking orders from the Chinese government and hiding data and information that could have helped the world deal with this global sickness. Global sickness that we can't even name here specifically on this broadcast, because if we do, this video is going to be downranked in the algorithm, and of course YouTube is not going to be showing it to a lot of people, which is absolutely ridiculous, but these are the rules we're living already before the Homeland Security disinformation czar takes over, and we can only expect the suppression of free and independent media getting a lot worse from here. This is once again why I am pushing so hard for everyone to join LukeUncensored.com, where of course we cannot be shut down in any way, shape, or form. And of course we can not only just keep this independent media up and running, we could expand it, we could grow it. The potential is limitless, and it starts with just that. We're dealing with a crazy situation on the world stage. We've been warning you for a very long time to prepare. If you have, you're probably dealing with a lot less stress than a lot of people who are caught off guard, a lot of people who are new here. Welcome to the absolute crazy, ridiculous reality that we're all living in, that is sure about to get a lot more interesting. We haven't even reached peak driving season. Gas, energy, key to all of this. There's a reason the Biden administration is trying to squash it, suppress it, and make sure that you live in their 2030 vision in a, quote, sustainable world where only the rich people like John Kerry are able to fly in their private jets, while of course you're locked down and denied the access to even be a free moving human being. That's the future that they're trying to build. They're not even hiding it. It's right in our faces. All you have to do is pay attention. And if you thought I did an okay job explaining that situation, share this video with your friends and family members. It's more imperative than ever trying to get these videos out there to the general public. We're walking a very serious tightrope here, trying to make sure that we strike the right balance with giving you the information that you need to hear without of course, being totally taken down. The bigger information, LukeUncensored.com. That's where you could see me and Atlas right there behind me, the best co-host I ever had in more exclusive videos. The Elon Musk video that I talked about earlier today is also available right here, which you could click right now. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org. Right, Atlas?